Hey, 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 everybody. Happy Thursday. Happy June. Happy Corporate Woke Pandering Month. Oh boy, do we have a lot to talk about in the month of June here on the stream. And has it been the craziest start to Pride Month in recent years, in anybody else's opinion? Because I spent so much time scrolling through social media today, just bewildered at how much crazier this year seems to be compared to years past. And I think we all saw that coming, particularly with the few really, really wild stories even before June started in the last several weeks, with different government agencies or corporations all trying to outperform one another, outpride one another in the last several weeks. But I think it's about to be a lot crazier in the next several months. Get ready, because I am not anticipating any way, shape, or form of this getting a little bit of an easier pill to swallow. No pun intended. How are you guys doing? Everybody doing good? Let me know how your day has been going. I asked you before we started if there was anything going on in your life or any crazy things that you guys have seen for the first day of Pride Month. We're going to be unpacking some of the stuff you guys have seen, an update to what I think is the craziest start to Pride Month story, with the Los Angeles Dodgers inviting the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence to their event for Pride Month, and this California state legislature even taking it a step farther. And you might be surprised as we unpack the comprehensive glossary of all things LGBTQ plus LMNIOP, blah, 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 alphabet soup. You probably fall into somewhat of a category of the Pride rainbow in 2023. No longer are the definitions of the LGBTQ plus community isolated to lesbian people, to gay people, to bisexual people, to transgender people. That convenient small little plus sign means that pretty much everyone, according to modern definitions, is queer, apparently. No, you might not have asked for that to happen to you. You might not have sought out that label for yourself. But as you will learn from the stream today, you too probably fall into this definition. So get ready, get pumped. We have a lot to cover today as we embark on the next 30 days of absolute insanity. I wish I was making this up. Great to see everybody so active in our live chat already to kick off the stream today. So glad you guys are here. Surya is here. Lover of Mountains is watching on YouTube. Joseph, Patrick, Dutch Canadian, Brown Rice, XVII, Frostfang, and more are all in our YouTube chat. Kim is watching on Facebook. We love to see you over there, Kim. I thought I missed another. Oh, yeah, I did. Jay, so glad to see you from Minnesota in our Facebook chat. OPC Don is here and says the craziest thing is the Christian baseball player who just apologized for recently having to deal with his religious beliefs, his sincerely held religious beliefs, instead of supporting the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. That was an absolutely crazy story. I wish that wasn't the case, but that's, absolutely the normal reality of where we're going right now. Surya says, is it just me, or has the Pride stuff gotten worse this year compared to the last 4 years? It absolutely has. And Frostfang echoed that in our YouTube chat. Evan's here on YouTube. Bad Jokester is here. We've got Cooper Cup equals the GOAT watching from France. Ishmael is watching on Facebook. Hello, so glad you are here. And so many others. Over on Locals, our whole gang is here. We love to see you guys in our little Locals family and community, which all of you are invited to be a part of, by the way, no matter what platform you're watching on. Tito, Alex, Johnny, you guys are always so here and ready to go every single time we start one of these live streams. Thank you guys. African Warlord too. You guys are the absolute best. We've got tons of people watching over on Rumble and tons of people on Getter. FJR Fie Soleil, Nitty Witty, Heinz. The original gang is out with a force today, and we love to see it. Do me a huge favor right at the top of the stream, you guys, and please hit that follow or subscribe button on whatever platform you're watching on right now. YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, Getter, Locals. You guys are already following. That's why you're there. But it helps so much as a totally independent creator. Every single one of you that hits that follow or subscribe button. And thank you so much for supporting all of this content. Let's jump right in to the insanity, shall we? If you guys are looking for good sources to follow that are talking about just how crazy all of this is, go back and rewatch Dave Rubin's show today on the Rubin Report. I thought his analysis of everything that was going on for Pride Month was absolutely spot on, completely fantastic, talking about why he does not subscribe to the Pride community label or the LGBTQ community. Fantastic explanation of all of that, so go check that out today. If you haven't yet heard about Gays Against Groomers, started by an amazing young woman named Jamie. We had her on the stream. Gosh, when did we have Jamie on? A couple of months ago, several months ago now. And we're working on having her back on this month. She is absolutely fantastic, and I love everything that Gays Against Groomers is working on. There's a lot of people out there. Kelly Cadigan is a trans TikToker that's talking about her journey through gender identity and all of that, and why the LGBTQ community has just taken things way, 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 way too far in targeting kids. There's a lot of really good people fighting the good fight out there. This is a subject that we talk a lot about on these live streams and on my content, but usually is not something we talk about every single day. So there are people who are out there who are creating content about this every single day and are really great resources if you're looking for more depth and more information about the few stories that we're going to be talking about today and the subjects that we're going to be unpacking on the stream, and just wanted to send you their way in case you were looking for more after we are done. One of the stories that I have seen absolutely blow up on social media, largely thanks to some of those people that I just mentioned, as well as many, many, many Catholic and Christian content creators, has been this story of the Los Angeles Dodgers inviting a group called the Catholic, or the anti-Catholic, Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, which is apparently a drag queen organization where these drag queens from across the country dress up as stripper nuns, drag nuns, I guess, to try to raise awareness for anything that they want to be pushing that day. Gender identity, drag queens, the rainbow movement as a whole. The whole thing is incredibly bizarre, and I had never heard of the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence before the Dodgers invited them to come be honored at this, like, Pride Night thing happening for the Dodgers game this month. Very weird. As you guys have probably all heard this story at this point because it's been making the rounds for the last several days on social media. Basically what happened is the Dodgers invited this group, and we'll unpack the whole story. So much backlash came for them that they uninvited this drag queen organization. And then so much backlash came from uninviting them that they re-invited this organization back to a baseball game to talk about Pride, I guess. And now the California state government is trying to out Pride and out woke the Los Angeles Dodgers in this particular story. So it gets even better. California, are you okay? Is anybody watching from California right now? Because at some point, you just can't keep going this far. Like, you will fall off into the ocean, probably. We will push you there ourselves. But the California state government, Fox News covered yesterday, are actually going out of their way now to out woke, to out pride, to out gay the Los Angeles Dodgers and honor through an official proclamation in the California state legislature the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence through the LGBTQ caucus in the midst of this controversy with the Dodgers. Fox News reported the California state legislature's LGBTQ caucus is poised to honor a member of the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, the controversial group at the center of a backlash engulfing the LA Dodgers. The Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, who identify, again, I'd never heard of these people until the last few weeks, as a group of queer and trans nuns. Being Catholic my whole life, with a few years figuring out what I wanted to do in between there, I'm pretty sure queer and trans nuns isn't how it works. But I'm no expert on the subject as a confirmed Catholic or anything. They're known for mocking Christian beliefs, including holding an annual Foxy Mary and Hunky Jesus contest. I have now done the deep dive on this organization, and if you haven't yet on your own, all of these clips are making the rounds on TikTok and Instagram Reels. I have watched videos where they have pole danced on crosses, and they use the saying, "Go forth and sin some more," borrowing that from the Catholic Church. One member of the group named Michael Williams, who's also known as Sister Roma, runs a podcast covering pornographic movies and LGBTQ issues. Sounds absolutely appropriate. Is on the honoree list for the California Senate's upcoming Pride Recognition Night. No, I am not making this up. The caucus in the California Senate for LGBTQ members said for more than 3 decades, Sister Roma has been one of the most outspoken and globally recognized members of San Francisco's Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. Honoring the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, a group whose sole mission is to sexualize nuns and mock Jesus, reveals the true depth of the hatred California's elected officials have for the millions of Catholics residing in the state. Said Mark Trammell, who works for the Center for American Liberty, to Fox News. I completely agree with that. Could not agree with that assessment more. This is a picture of the members of the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence dressing as nuns, I guess. And despite the organization getting tons of backlash as being a blatantly perverted, sexual, and disgusting anti-Catholic hate group, the California lawmakers proceeded to extend an invitation to one of its members to be an honoree for this event. I loved what the California Assembly Republican leader James Gallagher said. It's disgusting that the California Senate is choosing to honor an anti-Catholic hate group. Would Democrats still embrace this group if they mocked Jews or Muslims? Bigotry and discrimination against any religious group are wrong and have no place being honored in any state capital. This picture and the many, 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 many other photos and videos of the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence that are going around on social media. Here's just one, for example, that was put together by the San Diego Tribune, and I'll talk over it. We won't do the audio for this, but they basically talk about what the goals of their organization is. These types of images, this type of mockery, repeatedly, we have talked about since Halloween on my live stream, and I only see this type of A, woman face, but B, Catholic face, like people openly mocking Catholicism for Catholicism, openly mocking religion for Catholicism. Could you imagine for a moment if there was a drag queen group that was being honored by the California state legislature, not just by professional sports organizations, not just by LGBTQ nonprofit organizations, but by the actual government of a United States state, of one of the biggest states in our union, and probably will follow suit with an invitation to be honored by our federal government, knowing the track record of who currently holds the cards in Washington, D.C. Could you imagine if a group of drag queens like this were instead mocking Orthodox Jews? Could you imagine if a drag queen group like this were instead mocking Muslims? Anybody? Or Hindus? Or Buddhists? Or even atheists? No. This type of complete mockery I only ever see in regards to the Catholic Church. We saw it for Halloween with Megan Fox's really bizarre stripper nun costume, making fun of nuns and the Eucharist with Machine Gun Kelly. We saw this on the cover of countless music albums in the last several years, with Demi Lovato pretending to crucify herself on a weird cross-shaped mattress, with Lil Nas X giving a lap dance to Satan, wearing very odd religious items and having religious items specifically placed in the background of all of those music videos. I could rattle off countless other examples that we've unpacked on the stream at length. But this type of imagery would never, ever, ever be allowed in American society within the context of making fun of any other religion. Do not forget that. And the more we see Pride Month in and of itself heat up to be this bizarre, outwoke one another, let's everybody take our clothes off in front of kids thing that has escalated in the last several years, and you guys just informed me of some of the crazy things that you've seen just today on day one that seems so much crazier than 2, 3, 4 years ago. The more this continues to heat up, the more I am seeing the overlap and the crossover between pride culture and anti-religious culture. Whereas I think in the last several years, Pride Month or gay pride parades or anything under this umbrella of the rainbow didn't really have anything to do with religion. Now you start to see the quiet part be said out loud. That pride honoree awards from professional athletics or from state governments aren't really about just being gay or being proud to be gay. That pride parades aren't really about celebrating being gay or being queer or honoring same-sex marriage or legalizing same-sex marriage. That's already been accomplished, so we have to change the method somehow, change the objective somehow. Every single social media campaign about Pride Month is not about being gay and just living your life on your own terms. No, everything now has to be about A, imposing your will on kids, which is what we've seen through the Target controversy in the last several weeks, what we see constantly through the biggest entertainment companies on the face of the planet, not just Disney, but there's a big clip of a man wearing a dress selling $500 princess dresses to kids from Disneyland going viral this week. But think about every single kids show that is injecting this type of ideology into your kindergartner or 2-year-old's brain every day. We see clips go viral all the time for this on social media. This isn't just about being proud to be who you are. This is about imposing this on someone else, A, and B, shutting down anyone whose ideology might be different from yours. And traditionally, the biggest institution on the planet who stands juxtaposed to the message of the pride community or the LGBTQ community is what? The church. We've created a culture in America where you are evil. You are bigoted. You are white supremacist. You are hateful. You are worthy of all of our cancellation and condemnation, and even getting a punch thrown to the face if you put down and hate on any single group of people based on their religion, based on their minority race status, based on their sexual orientation or their gender identity, except for one. And that is Christians. Anybody else find that unbelievably coincidental at the very least? Or very prophetic at the most, if you believe that ultimately this world is going to cancel every single thing that you believe in. I think there's a lot to be said about just how crazy all of this is going to get. And we can expect to see a lot more, A, mockery of religion this month, which I don't think previously was ever part of the Pride movement agenda, but is starting to be one. A big part of the Pride movement agenda as we go into 2023. And we certainly are going to see a lot more insanity be shoved down our throats. One of the biggest ways in which I think the LGBTQ community has done this in the last several years is expanding the definition of what it means to be part of the rainbow. No longer is the Pride community LGBT, it is LGBTQ plus. And what used to be LGBT, lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender, now encompasses a never-ending list of anything under the sun that you could possibly imagine that makes you a marginalized identity deserving of your own parades and once-a-year corporate logos that encompass the rainbow and turning society completely upside down. So I thought it would be fun on the stream today to give you a comprehensive overview, an education, if you will, on how each and every one of us probably now fit into the pride community, whether we asked for it or not. And mark my words when I say you should just prepare to be shocked. Previously, I think we've looked at the LGBTQ umbrella and had very specific categories for where people would fit into that. And this handy glossary from, of all places, you guessed it, Chicago Public Schools, geared towards children, helps us understand where we came from. And then the little window that we left into that groups like PFLAG, which I think stands for Pride Flag, I'm assuming one of the largest nonprofits when it comes to this community in America, that little window that those organizations have taken advantage of and just blown the whole place wide open. So Chicago Public Schools says that LGBTQ+ is an umbrella term used to describe people who may identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, questioning, or queer, and the plus represents the many other identities that can fall into this umbrella that might not fit into one of the categories listed here in this document. So they describe two children in Chicago. If you live in Chicago, none of this should be surprising to you. What coming out is, that there's basically two parts of the LGBTQ plus acronym, your sexual orientation or your gender identity, which in my opinion don't remotely belong in the same acronym together because those are two very dramatically different things. And how LGB and T even got stuck in the same acronym in the first place blows my mind. So it's interesting to see so many gay and lesbian individuals now come out and say that they want absolutely nothing to do with the T part of their acronym because it doesn't stand for anything that they've ever believed in. But Chicago Public Schools goes and teaches all these kids, well, for sexual orientation, you can either be lesbian, gay, bisexual, pansexual. That's kind of a new one you might not be familiar with from the last several years. Basically, the difference between bisexual and pansexual is that if you're bisexual, you're specifically attracted to the binary, and pansexual means you're attracted to anyone. You can be romantically, emotionally, and or sexually attracted to all people, regardless of their gender identity. And now asexual has also become a pretty normalized term for our generation, that you don't experience sexual attraction at all, but you may experience other forms of attraction. Then they go through gender identity in this little document, that you can be cisgender, aka you identify with your biological gender, gender queer, which means you're somewhat of a combination of all the genders out there, which they can never give you a number as to how many those actually are. Non-binary, which is different from gender queer, but they can't really tell you how it's different from gender queer. They specifically describe that you are not born with a biological gender. You have a sex that was assigned to you at birth. A sex that was very oppressively given to you, not based on evidence, by a doctor when you were born, based on only your external genitalia, which is so far from objective truth that it just blows my mind. And then, of course, transgender, which is a very familiar word for all of us these days. If you think that this is just isolated, though, to Chicago public schools or to the really crazy deep blue cities or even just education as part of American culture, think again. This is the new website for the American Psychological Association, in which they are providing a helpful guide to sexual orientation and gender diversity terms. Interesting. They say the LGBTQ plus acronym has been developed to represent this huge range, a wide range, they say, of sexual and gender minorities. I'm about to show you how none of this is a minority thing, by the way, in our next little tab that we're going to, and has expanded over the years in an effort towards inclusion. Fascinating. Because turns out, according to the American Psychological Association, you don't even need to be LGBTQ plus to fall into the acronym. You can be an ally for members of any of these social groups. They break down lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, etc., specifically saying that gender has nothing to do with your biology. Only your sex has to do with your biology, per the American Psychological Association. And they say gender is a word that refers to an individual's self-identification. It's something informed by culture, society, and one's relationship to themselves. That they say, the American Psychological Association, that gender is not strictly binary and can more accurately be framed as a spectrum or something even more expansive than that. Then they go into the Q. The Q in LGBTQ+, per the American Psychological Association, stands for individuals who identify under the umbrella term queer. The word queer has historically been used as derogatory and an offensive slur, and is more generally used to describe things that are odd or abnormal. However, since the 1990s, they're reclaiming the word. Some people use it as a blanket term to describe themselves as identifying in any of the number of ways that are not heterosexual. So, now that you know what the new word for queer is, buckle up. I hope you're sitting down for this. The American Psychological Association informs us that queer is an umbrella term that can refer to a whole number of different identities that are always growing because we're always seeking to be more inclusive and we're always expanding our million ways in which we are hoping to change culture as we know it. And PFLAG, one of the largest nonprofit organizations related to LGBTQ plus identity, queer identity, has created an all-encompassing guide to how, more likely than not, in 2023, each and every one of us would probably be labeled as queer. Whether you asked for it or not, whether you think that you are queer or not, chances are you probably fall into one of the literally endless definitions that we have put under the pride umbrella, under the rainbow umbrella, and into that very nebulous, all-encompassing word of queer. We don't have time remotely to go through this entire LGBTQ plus glossary today on the stream. We might come back to it throughout the month just to reference some crazy things that we see on social media this month. But I want you to just take a gander, look at your screen. I hope you're sitting down for this, and look at how long this glossary actually is. No longer are our letters simply stuck to LGBTQ. We've got A, B, C, D, F, G, H, I, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, V, W. And within all of these letters, there's actually multiple identities that probably adhere to you in some specific way. I am still scrolling and I'm only on H. Still scrolling. I feel like I need the Jeopardy music put behind me when we re-upload this to social media. So, while we're on the subject, let's just look at some of the words that probably adhere to each and every one of us while we're thinking about it. Let's maybe look at ally, because you now are LGBTQ+, if you are an ally, a term generally relating to individuals who support marginalized groups. That's it. That's the term. So according to PFLAG, if you are an individual who supports any marginalized group, which I would argue by today's standards would include preborn babies, would include Catholics with the FBI spying on us and labeling us domestic extremists, would include anyone who believes in objective truth instead of relative truth and relative morality. All of those definitions, you would be an ally and therefore LGBTQ+. Interesting. Let's keep going. How about bioessentialism, What does this mean? This is a new word. Short for biological essentialism, reliance or weaponization of biology in an attempt to disprove trans people's genders. Common bioessentialist arguments reduce people to their chromosomes, their genitalia, their binary gender. So I guess I am a bioessentialist. As a scientist with a degree in biomedical sciences, I am A-okay with being called a bioessentialist. I'm pretty sure my professors would probably be pretty proud of me for doing that. What's biromantic mean? Refers to an individual who acknowledges in themselves the potential to be romantically attracted to people of more than one gender, not necessarily at the same time, in the same way, or to the same degree. Individuals who identify as biromantic aren't necessarily sexually attracted to the same people to whom they're romantically attracted. So if I have the potential to romantically but not sexually love a woman, not at the same time I'm in love with a man, mind you, or the same way, or the same degree. Basically, if you have romantic loving feelings, but not sexual feelings, for any person, theoretically, then you are biromantic. Congratulations on coming out. Let's keep going, because this is very, very fun. Here's where it starts getting really fun. Demi-romantic. Demi-romantic. Used to describe an individual who experiences romantic attraction only after forming an emotional connection. I mean, call me crazy. I'm pretty sure romantic attraction is after you have formed an emotional connection with someone. For like anyone of any sexual orientation. So if I feel like I can only have romantic feelings for someone after I have established an emotional connection with them, I am demi-romantic. Go me. I am now a marginalized identity in American politics and American culture. Fascinating. But that's not all. Demi-romantic is actually different from demisexual. Demisexual means an individual who experiences sexual attraction only after forming an emotional connection. Notice that none of these words, demi-romantic or demisexual, mean that you have to be attracted to any gender. This could refer to straight people. So if I'm attracted to men as a woman, cisgender men, I suppose I should say, to be as specific as possible. If I'm attracted to them either romantically or sexually, only after forming an emotional connection, I am actually two different queer identities now? Demi-romantic and demisexual. That probably applies to each and every one of us with a brain. So, congratulations, everyone. We are all queer in 2023. Go us. Exciting stuff. Let's keep going because this is a very fun game to play. All right, how about feminine? Having qualities or an appearance stereotypically associated with women or conventionally regarded as female. Glad we needed to define that because there was some confusion about what feminine meant, I guess. Okay, how about gatekeeping? A broad term not only used within the LGBTQ plus community, which describes the process by which an individual decides who does or does not belong to a certain community group or identity. For example, a gay man telling a questioning man that he has to have sex with another man before he can call himself gay is an example of gatekeeping. We're just really grasping at straws now, aren't we? We're just looking for reasons to be upset. What's a gaybie? Gaybie. A person with one or more LGBTQ plus parents or caregivers. So if your parents are gay, you are a gaybie. But you might not be gay, but your parents are gay. Congratulations. This is a lot about gender. Okay, how about gray asexual? Here we go. Also referred to as gray ace, refers to an individual whose sexual orientation is somewhere between asexual and sexual. A gray asexual person may experience sexual attraction, but not very often. Or they may experience sexual attraction, but not desire sexual relationships. What? Okay, so officially now, if you are sexually attracted to some people, but you're not always sexually attracted to every person ever, congratulations, you are gray asexual. And now I would like to add a third identity under the queer umbrella in which I adhere to: demi-romantic, demisexual, gray asexual, and I'm assuming I probably also will adhere to this gray romantic definition. I love that I'm wearing a gray sweatshirt for this as well. I'm just really expressing my identity today. Refers to an individual whose romantic orientation is somewhere between aromantic and romantic. A gray romantic person may experience romantic attraction, but not very often. Or they may experience romantic attraction, but not desire romantic relationships. I'm adding a fourth queer identity to my litany of marginalized, oppressed identities in America today. I'm coming out, everyone. It's a good time. Heteroflexible. That's a new one. A straight person who is most often attracted to people of a different gender for themselves, but sometimes experiences attraction to the same gender as them. It is distinct from bisexuality. How? How is that different from being bisexual? We just can't, we have to keep coming up with more names? I am so confused what all of this means. I just can't. Intersectionality, of course, is the word that you all need to be aware of, because this is how we got to where we are today. The term refers to the overlap of social categorizations or identities such as race, ethnicity, sexuality, gender, disability, geography, and class, which exist in an individual group of people that can contribute to discrimination or disadvantage. You're going to hear this word thrown around a lot this month, and mainly they're going to tell you that you can't really be an ally unless you're also pro-BLM, unless you're also pro-socialism, unless you're also pro-Green New Deal, the whole 9 yards. You'll see a lot of this word, so if you're not already familiar with it, it's time to start looking it up. All right, let's keep going. This is, I mean, there's just way too many to pick from. Okay, this is fascinating while we're on the topic of intersectionality. Misogynoir? Are we doing the French version? It's a term coined by queer black feminist Moya Bailey. That's quite the description. To describe misogyny directed towards black women when race and gender both play roles in bias. Nice. Monosexual is one I've never heard before. People who only experience attraction to one gender. Examples of monosexual groups include gay men, lesbians, and straight people. Okay, I have a fifth identity that I'm adding on to my queer identities. Is anyone keeping track in our live chat? This is number 5 for Miss Isabel. If you too are coming out, I'd love to hear it in the live chat. Demi-romantic, demisexual, gray asexual, gray romantic, and now monosexual, because I'm proud to announce I only experience attraction to men. So I am monosexual. I'm glad we're acknowledging that straight people have a room in this queer house that we continue to expand upon every single day. Nibbling is a new one. It's a gender-neutral term for niece or nephew. Anybody have nieces and nephews that you're now going to start calling nibblings? What is a non-binary lesbian? a term to describe a non-binary person whose primary romantic, emotional, and or sexual attraction is to women. I am so confused. So what if you're a man who's not, like if you're biologically a man who's non-binary? You're a non-binary lesbian? All right, omniromantic refers to an individual who is romantically attracted to all genders, with gender playing a role in the attraction. Omnisexual is basically the same thing. Then there's pansexual, panromantic. That means everyone. So it's different from bisexual because apparently we have more genders than two now. So you have to be able to distinguish the difference, apparently. Queer, a term used by some LGBTQ plus people to describe themselves and or their community, reclaimed from its earlier negative use. The term is also considered by some to be inclusive of the entire community and by others who find it to be an appropriate term to describe their more fluid identities. I feel like I'm in 5th grade and I just had to read a passage out loud to the class and I comprehended none of the information that I just took in. Anybody else? Queer spawn? That's bad. Gaby was much better than queer spawn or queer platonic. Characterized by a desire to have a queer platonic relationship with an individual in particular. These relationships include more or deeper commitment than simple friendship, but are not romantic or sexual in nature for those involved. I have many deeper, like best friendships with people in my life. So I'm going to call up my best friend and let her know tonight that it's actually more than a friendship that we have. It is a queer platonic relationship. And that is my 6th identity under the umbrella term queer that I would like to add to this conversation. Guys, it just continues to get crazier. But as you can see, and you should go play with this P flag glossary yourself because it is absolutely crazy how much we are expanding the term queer to fit literally anyone and everyone. Congratulations. Like, we are all queer, apparently. If you're attracted to some people, particularly of a certain gender, but not all people, and you need an emotional connection before you're sexually attracted to someone else, you are queer in modern American society, which is why it's hardly surprising to me that 20% of my generation, according to an Axios, or I think it was a Gallup poll that was reported on by Axios, 20% of Gen Z is self-identifying as LGBTQ+, 1 in 5. But when you consider that that little plus sign means literally any one of us, and these are the types of labels and conversations that are happening in American education, that are happening in the entertainment industry, that are being talked about on our social media feeds, 100% of us could realistically self-define ourselves as LGBTQ+. This entire conversation has just gotten so out of hand that I don't even know where we go from here. Because in the last 3-4 years, we've gone from, okay, like marriage equality, that's great. That's what everybody wanted to march for. Then we went from that, like, yay, we did that. That's so great as a country. Congratulations, to actually, it was never really just about being gay. Now it's about, I want gender affirming care for all adults everywhere. Like, we actually need to change our gender. And then that transformed into, well, actually, we don't want everybody to just transform their gender when they're an adult. We need to do that while they're kids, because otherwise they are going to literally unalive themselves. And so our new demand is that we have to chemically and physically castrate children before they ever even really know what their long-term identity is going to look like, because that's the only way that we can live in a progressive society in the 2020s in America. And now we've just thrown all of it together in this weird rainbow soup in the cauldron that we're stirring here, in the pot that we're stirring, and saying, well, actually, everyone is queer. Just everyone. Congratulations. I don't know what the logical next step actually is when we've just opened a massive, unending can of worms where anything can be true and you're never allowed to question any of it, which is ironic because then they have a whole label for questioning. But if you question whether any of this is actually sane or possible or reality, then you are an evil bigot who deserves to die, basically. This month is going to be a doozy. And it's only going to get a hell of a lot worse. If you came out in our stream today in the live chat, congratulations. Welcome to the new queer, where it's apparently everyone, according to themselves. Like, that was the largest LGBTQ nonprofit that put that together. So, like me, thank you for those keeping track in our live chat. If you are demi-romantic or demisexual or monosexual or gray asexual or gray romantic, this month is all about you. Don't let anyone take that away from you, okay? Frostfang says, I can't keep up with all of this, and a lot of you said that you were losing brain cells through reading that list. Correct. I can't keep up with any of it either, but we are going to do our darndest this month to do just that, because it's only going to get crazier. Let's keep an eye out for everything crazy. Send me screenshots and links and videos. I want to see all of it throughout this month, especially with different companies going out of their way to pride one another. I'm sure you guys can help me find some great stories to talk about on the stream, and we are always looking for your recommendations for topics, for guests, and everything in between. This is all about a sense of community and letting you guys be a part of what we talk about just as much as what I want to talk about on any given day. And the best way for you guys to do that is to join us over on Locals, where you can actually post something to me. So instead of having to worry about sending me a DM or finding my email address somewhere or whatever, you guys can create posts in our community. I am posting our link to our Locals community in the live chat right now, and would love to see all of you guys join us over there. It is very, very fun, and everybody in our Locals chat will tell you we have an absolute blast with the several hundred of us that are over there. Much more back and forth communication, and it's a really fun place for all of us to be. It's kind of like social media for people who hate social media, and it's an easy one-stop shop for all of my content. So please consider joining us over there. Normally at the end of every stream, we do a post-stream Q&A every day over on Locals. Today I have to go deal with the whole open enrollment healthcare thing because I just turned 26. So we're not going to have a Q&A today, but we will make up for it with a really fun Q&A tomorrow. Please, please, please hit that link. Go join us over on Locals. We've got a lot of fun local specific content only coming to our community over there. And I want to hear your suggestions and your recommendations for what you guys want to talk about this month, and crazy stories about out-priding one another in the next several weeks. Stay woke, I guess. Stay queer, I guess. I mean, it's only going to get crazier, but congratulations on coming out, truly. And don't let anyone take that away from you. Love you guys so much. Don't forget to hit that subscribe or follow button on your way out. As an independent creator, means the absolute world to me when you do that. And we will be back tomorrow for day 2, which will probably be twice as crazy, of Pride Month here on the stream at 3 p.m. Eastern. Love you guys all so much. Please keep your brain this month. Everyone is going to try to fry it.